casual players hate tag games. You'll probably say that I'm an idiot because Dragon Ball Fighters is successful, but he thinks that's like the exception to the rule. Basically, the tag format is extremely popular among competitive players, but it's popular amongst the competitive players, but the casual crowd hates tag fighters with a passion. And he labels different tag fighting games that he feels like people criticize with like Blaze Blue Cross Tag, MVCI. Notice he didn't say nothing about the other Marvel's Capcom. Tekken Tag 2, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Power Rangers, etc. Two, the free-to-play fighting games have been tried before and flopped every time. Does anybody remember Tekken Revolution, Soul Calibur Lost Swords, DOA 6 Core Fighters, Rising Thunder? He also says that graphics are not pushing the envelope. The Big Cure 4, Tekken, Street Fighter 6, MK1, and Guilty Gear Strive are all relatively graphically impressive games. They all try to push graphics in some way, and he doesn't feel like 2XKO is doing that. He feels like the roster is going to be small. He feels like it's going to launch with 16 to 20 characters. 20 characters is somewhat of a standard for launch rosters. But these are games that also launch with story mode, additional cosmetics, and other content to round up their packages. So he feels like a lack of single player content, the small roster is going to hurt that. His fifth one is basically saying no single player content. He doesn't feel like it's going to have any single player content. I don't know how you would know that off the rip. But and then also the game is not on Steam, so we know Riot games aren't on Steam. So with all those things together, he basically feels like 2XKO most likely can come out and be a flop. So basically from this, how are you guys feeling about everything this gentleman is saying? Starting with you, MC Mason.
First off, I would say flop. I would go ahead and just be like, no. I Maybe it might not do as well as we would think, but like to just be like, yeah, these reasons would be a flop. I don't know, but like first off, like the whole thing about the graphics, it's like as long as the game is like stylized, like it's stylistic and it's cool. I'm not really looking forward, like it to be like pushing any kind of like boundaries really in terms of graphics. Like as long as it looks cool, as long as it plays well, that's really not a huge concern to me. And I feel like a lot of fighting gamers feel the same way. Uh, Having the roster be like 18 to 20 characters, I don't really see like the 16, 20 characters. I don't really see an issue with that. Like Street Fighter 6 only launched with like 18 characters and that game is just fine. Like they're releasing DLC characters, people bought the game, people are still buying the game, everything's cool. Like you said about the single player content, I mean, how I'm not sure how you're going to know that they're not going to have single player content without the game being out, but okay. Um, I don't know, man. Like the fact that tag fighters, some of those tag, like saying that people don't like tag fighters, some of those tag fighters that didn't do well did not do well, and not as a result of being tag fighters. It was the actual execution and differing execution and spots that made them not do well. It's not like, oh, this game's a tag game. Oh, well, obviously it's going to do bad. It's all about execution. So I just I don't think that's all there. I don't think that's really a reason that it's going to flop. It might be a reason that people might not like people who don't play tag fighters might not play the game, but it's not going to be a reason why it flops. Um, and that's if it flops at all. I don't know, man. What was the other stuff? Can you run back some of the other stuff real quick?
Yeah, he put the TLDR, and he basically said the free to play fighting games have been tried before many times and never worked. Tag mechanics are unpopular. Game doesn't offer much to a casual fan beyond the LOL fan service, and I really don't see the secret sauce that will make it a tremendous success that people expect it to be.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and one other thing, real quick, it not being on Steam doesn't really mean a whole lot because I mean, like Riot already has like their own launcher, and if you want to play the game, you're going to download that anyway. So it not being on Steam, it's like I wanted to buy what's called what do you call that game? Was CD Project Red's game, Cyberpunk. I wanted to play Cyberpunk, and they had it. It was either the difference. is either you play it on Steam where it's like full price, or you buy it on GOG Galaxy where it's like, half off. Well, of course, I'm going to buy it where it's half off. I'm just going to download the other launcher because it's cheaper to buy it on there. So it's kind of like, there's all these different launchers, and it's like, I mean, Steam, when you get down to it, it's just another launcher. So it not being on Steam really, I don't really think is going to be that much of a deterrent. I mean, unless you're just like, oh, I'm definitely not going to download another launcher, which at that point, I'm just kind of like, what do you, I don't even understand why you're being so stubborn about that, because it's like you have Steam on there. You might already have Epic Games, you might have Ubisoft, you might have GOG Galaxy, and then you'd be like, well, this is it, man. This is the straw that breaks the camel's back. I'm not downloading the Riot Games in launcher because I just don't want another launcher. I don't know. So that's basic. That's my take.
It's on you, Big Lift.
So I don't know. His point, some of the points he made, I agree with a tad bit on some of the things, but I don't think that overall, the rhetoric, like the idea that he has this game gonna flop, I don't think that's necessarily the case. We gotta see, wait and see. I know that the game wasn't, when the alpha test came out, it wasn't like the most, everybody was losing their mind. People did like the game. They did, they seemed very fond of it. But it wasn't like, man, like the internet is exploding over 2SKO. I will say that. But to go over his points, casual players hate tag games. I agree with that. Maybe like 50-50. Because tag games, people do like them. Like Marvel vs. Capcom is Hero. That's probably like the top one. But they're like, people don't like learning multiple characters. I mean, like KOF, Marvel, casual people, they just don't like learning multiple characters. They don't want to learn synergy for teams and stuff like that. So I get that rhetoric that, casuals, fans may hate tag fighters. Free-to-play fighting games have been tried before and flopped every time. We don't have a whole bunch of like good contenders in that space. Like Rising Thunder was so long ago, and it was like,
that's my thing.
I wouldn't even really fully consider that like a full fighting game. It was more like a beta to me, honestly, at best. And he did mention Brawlhalla, which is Brawlhalla is like probably one of the best examples. Because he mentioned the character selection. I'm like, well, this is LOL, so they have like a load of characters to choose from. And it's a free to play model, so obviously they're not gonna. I do think they could maybe start off with like 25 to maybe 20, like let's say 22 to 27 characters. But at the same time, they got to make some money since it's free to play. And what's League of Legends things? Characters, a bunch of characters. Brawlhalla has like 42 characters, if I'm not mistaken. That's a free to play game. So you think a game that's already had a world and IP established, they're gonna just release those characters. And I mean, I think you got to think about the power of like IP popularity. If they release one of your characters and you like League of Legends, you like, oh, I'm going to drop this character. You're probably going to buy that character. Some people might just buy that character and play the game just because their favorite character's in it. So I think on that regard, it's like you just kind of have to wait and see in that, because they got to make some money somehow. No single player content. We don't know that just yet. Game not being on Steam. I will say sometimes having extra launchers is annoying. I am so sick and tired of playing an EA game on Steam and it has to open through EA Origins. I kind of wish we would do away with that. But with Riot, it kind of makes more sense because all the games have already been on their launcher like that. But I do think it would make things more streamlined if you just put it on other platforms like that, so you won't have to go through signing in, logging in. Oh, I forgot my password. I saved it. It didn't save, stuff like that. So I'll just end this with saying, to say it's going to be a flop, I think that's a little bit of a stretch, because I do think this game is going to be successful. I will say it needs to hurry up and come out though, because I do think that could cause it to be losing steam. That's the one thing about it. Got to hurry up and come out, and depending on what's out already and people are playing, that's going to kind of dictate how it goes. So I will say that. That's the one caveat to this.
You ain't even gonna set a timer because it's one of them ones you just gotta like look. Hey, it's a lot. I will agree that it does need to hurry up and come out, because it's like, come on. We've been knowing about Project L since 2019. Like, come on. Like, we got videos. We talked about Project L 4 years ago, 3, 4
Yeah.
years ago. And it's like, we still ain't able to get to, like, come on now. Like, even like it could be great, but y'all making us wait this long. Some people just gonna be like, when it come out, it ain't no urgency to get it. It's like, I get it whenever. But just to go ahead and hit what he was talking about, casual players hating tag games. I'm kind of like with Mr. Gamer. It's kind of 50-50. I'm one of them people, like I consider myself more so like a casual, and I'm one of those people, I'm like a fighting game casual rather than just like a gaming casual. Like I'll put my effort into fighting games, but they're all like, so I have no issue with tag fighters. Some tag fighters I have an issue with more than others. Like MVC, that's a tag fighting game that I'm just like, it's just too much for me. It's too fast, too quick, too much all over the screen, too much. But I love Tekken Tag 2. Now, some people will say Tekken Tag 2 is too fast, got too much going on. You gotta learn so many different characters, you gotta learn all these different mechanics. I loved it. To me, like Tekken Tag 2 was like chaotic excellence. So, it really just depends on the player. So if we talk about like general casuals who are just so used to, playing like whether it's team games or your MMOs or whatever you casually played, and then next thing you know, I throw you in a tag fighting game, you could be like, wait a minute, what just happened to me? Like the game over in like 15 seconds, you know. So I can see I'm kind of like meeting him like 50-50, because I will say some of the appeal of the people who's gonna come to play Project L is gonna be like people who probably don't play fighting games. It's gonna be a lot of people who play like LOL trying to come over and play. And a lot of those people have already got their hands like on the alpha and just kind of like, I'll support this game, but I ain't gonna play it, you know. So free to play games have been tried before and they flopped. I feel like the games you've named, like, that was so long ago, them trying to do that. I feel like that was before like a time where fighting games could literally have good examples and representation of like how this can go and how we can work this. Cause like they're just really like trying to like, they're semi doing it with like Street Fighter 6. Like Street Fighter 6 is trying to mix that like how we've been doing our DLC with trying to like go to like live service, free to play model, blase, blase. Like they're trying to do it. So fighting games, I feel like they tried them at a time, but I feel like it wasn't enough examples for them to go off of to where it's like, okay, we feel confident to go ahead and do it. And I think they're just getting to that point now. So, like, of course, I think in the beginning of us trying that, you're probably going to have a lot of people who died on their heel. So I don't hold that against tag fighters, or 2SKO that it's a free to play. I mean, if anybody gonna do it, Riot's gonna do it. If anybody gonna get it right, Riot's gonna get it right. And with the knowledge from the Cannon brothers, knowing fighting games, I feel like they'll have a good chance. Graphics are not pushing the envelope. I agree with that, it doesn't necessarily have to be like the most beautiful thing when you look at it. But also at the same time, like I can get what he's saying that like if it's trying to be like up there with the big dogs, it will like kind of like stand out as the one that's probably not the most beautiful graphically. Like, so I'll give him that it might not, fit as well up there with the big dog. So I could kind of meet him halfway with that, but I don't think it'll affect it too much as long as the game has the people y'all want to play, it's fun to play, and they have content that you want to keep going back for. Small roster, I feel like I can't really speak too much to what he's saying because he's trying to like add that with it's no going to be no single player content. So it's like you gotta kind of bring up the characters, because if we're only going to be fighting, you need to give us a lot of options in the fighting and a lot of characters. Is that we gonna have to see when it releases if there's single player content. I mean, we don't know. I don't remember Riot basically saying that there's going to be nothing outside of like versus. I don't remember them ever saying that. No single player content, kind of already went over that. And it not being on Steam, my two co-hosts just talked about that. I really don't know much about different launchers and blase, blase, whatever. All I know is at the end of the day, you could have to go buy PC parts off Mars. If the game is good enough, people gonna do it. So, yeah, so that's how I feel about it. I'm kind of, I'll say end all. With all his points, the furthest I could go with him is saying that 2XKO probably won't be what we thought it could be. And I kind of feel like that. I feel like the way people hype 2SKO that it's going to be a savior. Everybody's going to come back and the FGC is going to be in harmony. Huh. I don't feel like that. I feel like it's just I feel like it's going to come out. It's going to be another game. If it does really good, it's going to be a game that comes out and impacts the FGC in terms of, free to play live service model games. I feel like it will definitely, kind of be like a cornerstone of like what can be achieved in the FGC. But I don't look, be honest. 2XKO could come out April 15th, 2025. And it could come out and be amazing. And everybody's just like, all hell riot. If Capcom got petty and said, you know what? July 20th, re-release some Marvel vs. Capcom 4. We gonna sit here and act like 2XKO gonna keep running the race. We gonna sit here and act like Marvel ain't gonna be back up on top. Capcom get petty and say, you know what? Oh, I feel like we ain't killing enough. You know what? October 2025, we gonna release a trailer for Capcom versus SNK 3. Capcom still running this, y'all. Let's be honest. Capcom still running this. 2SKO is not gonna come out and be any type of big enough that if Capcom really wanted to do its big one, as the young folks say, like that everybody else just ain't gonna lay down. So, like, let's just be real about it. So, anybody else got anything they want to add?
Well, I mean, if it's anything like what they did with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, man, they're gonna.
Why are you doing that? Why are you bringing that up, though?
Like,
why are you saying
I mean,
that?
because somebody else had to come in and fix it. That's why, bro. Because somebody else, while they were over here playing around, like
but it's gonna be good though. You know that. You know it's gonna be good. It ain't got no choice.
Yeah, basically, it has no choice. Like, you're right. They have no choice. Yeah, I feel like I do agree with you though. If they were to announce Marvel vs. Capcom 4, then it would kind of like take the wind out of the sails a little bit, because people would be like, "Oh, wait a minute." It's like that meme that they do with Andy from Toy Story. I don't want to play with you anymore. Like, yeah, like it could easily be that, but if like just off the announcement alone, not even after like, oh yeah, we got like gameplay and stuff, it's just like off of the announcement, be like, wait a minute, what?
Bruh, if they announce Marvel vs. Capcom 4 at Evo, y'all know grown men go cry. Like right in the venue, go be on their knees. Grown men go cry.
Nah, I gotta see something first. Like I think Capcom right now is in a great spot. I think they are killing it as a company, but we know that Capcom doesn't have full control over like Marvel vs. Capcom with like all the rights and stuff for like the characters and Disney having their hands in it. I got to see something first, because I think NBCI, nah, like it gameplay wise, but that game was a travesty. And like E said, somebody else had to come and fix the game. So
man, that hurt y'all, man.
I mean, it's just. It's just like that's just what it was.
But I don't know. I'm just of the mind when I think about MVC4. Like I only see the only thing that come to my mind is great game. I ain't like MVCI.
That's what I thought about MVCI.
MVCI don't even come to my head. Like
that's exactly what I thought.
That's just that was an alternate reality that somehow we all got memory of. I don't know what happened. Like when I think of MVC4, I'm just like, look, this game gonna be the bee's knees. Like it's only gonna be good. It can only be good. It's gonna be everything that we ever wanted. I guess I'm just one of them delusional fans.
Yeah, I bet NRS wishes they had more delusional fans like that.
Oh, they got a lot already.
They do. 5 million people. I mean, not to say that.